Hello again. We're calling our meeting to order. In case you're wondering, I attended CPRS, which is our California Park and Rec Conference in Sacramento, and instead of bringing all the brochures back, I have them mail them to us here. So that's why I have this stuff. Anyway, I'm working on it. So welcome everybody, and I believe I'm up to say the pledge. So would you all stand and join me, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm calling our meeting to order. I'm a little out of order. So everyone is here with the exception of Francisco, who is an excused absence because he is sick. Do we have any public comments?
I have two. First is Darlene Carpenter and Robert D. Almeida after that.
All right, thank you. So Darlene is up first, I believe. All right, and then have you spoken before to any of City Council? You know, you've got the 3 minutes.
No, I have not. I have 3 minutes. I have spoken in front of City Council before, so I understand.
Okay, so you understand the 3 minute, the
I absolutely do. All right, I'm here on behalf of the Amigos de la Colina at Heritage Hill Historical Park. It's unique in that it highlights our local history, and we are currently, I will be briefly mentioning our park betterment project, which is the installation of a permanent timeline within the park. As you know, our history encompasses from the Ahashman to the Rancho era, from cattle ranching to tenant farming, from the railroad boom to the rural agricultural area, all the way to today's technology and commercial industries, which we have a great deal of in our city. On December 20th, when we incorporated in 1991, we buried a time capsule on the premises. It will be opened in 2041, so we'll get to see what's happened in the last 50 years. I always tell the children that they should come back with their children because they'll be about the right age and see what we have in there. So talking about some numbers, I think you'd be interested to know that even though Heritage Hill is not well known by a lot of people, you'd be surprised how many don't know about it. We have... Oh, it was. You didn't cut me off. I didn't think I got to 3 minutes yet. Okay. We have over 23,000 visitors that come to our park annually. In 2016 and 2017, we have a number of interpretive programs. We have 3 for children. We scheduled 104 children's tours, docent-led children's tours, and that averages out to conservatively over 4,000 children will go through our educational programs this fiscal year. We also have walk-in tours for impromptu visitors, and of course we have scout tours and special groups tours that come in. In this fiscal year, every fiscal year, we'll be hosting 3 Lake Forest-sponsored community events. We're actually combining our 2 Christmas events into one. Not sure how that's going to work yet, but we'll have October, December, and May, of course, in Rancho Days. So our timeline, we have the approval of OC Parks, and we have a conceptual design being worked on by the Acorn Group. Right now, the estimate is approximately $30,000. However, the benefit to the park and to the community, I believe, is priceless. All donors will be recognized, and we don't have a lot of them. We have the Amigos de la Colina, but of course our resources are not deep. We have our annual fundraiser where we raise approximately $1,300 a year, where we support our programs and put the rest toward park betterment. OC Parks will also be a donor. Would really like for the City of Lake Forest to be a donor, and really you should be a donor because this is our history. It is the history of Lake Forest, and the timeline is all about us. It's really a golden opportunity to get involved. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions?
Does anybody have any questions? I know Victor knows all this back.
He does. He
before.
absolutely does. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, next is,
Robert D. Alameda.
Good evening. My name is Robert Almeida. I live in Forest Gardens Senior Community. I'm here to offer two proposals. The first is short-term and an inexpensive idea. The second one is longer-term and more expensive. But first, some background. The Urban Land Institute conducted a study to determine the correlation between under-maintained public parks and the deterioration of urban neighborhoods. The conclusions were that under-maintained parks appeared psychologically abandoned and offered a refuge to the criminal element. The ULI observed that public parks in older neighborhoods were denied adequate funds for park maintenance because of budget concerns and the desire to spend money in the newer part of the cities. After the second year of deferred maintenance, it became almost impossible to produce the funds needed to restore those parks. I think all of you have seen them. Hard-packed dirt where grass lawns once existed, broken down or closed restrooms, defective lighting, graffiti, pot smoking, drunkenness, gang activity, and such. Mountain View Park, located at the end of Aspen Street in our city, is in the older and more frequently overlooked part of the city. This is the only park in the northwest sector of the city that offers recreation for those that cannot afford to live in the newer parts of the city. Mountain View Park is under-maintained and could become a refuge for vandals and hoodlums. There is more to discuss, but not in my 3 minutes. I want to draw your attention to the condition of the tennis courts. And honestly, I have some photos for you. These are pretend tennis courts. Nobody is going to play tennis on those tennis courts given the condition they're in. First, I propose that the tennis courts be repaired and the area around the courts be properly maintained. This is something that can be managed within the current budget. And secondly, I propose that in the future, one of those two tennis courts be converted to pickleball courts. There's people in our community that want to talk about the pickleball courts, but I don't want to distract from the idea of just maintenance court. I have 4 photos. That's it. Well, can they see them, please? That's true.
Come back.
That's the
Don't
whole
worry.
idea. Thank you.
yeah. So, did anybody have any questions for Robert? No? We're good? Okay. Oops.
As Robert has said before, I'm passing on. I have 25 of my own pictures of the same thing.
Quick question, is this park on the list?
It's not. This park was actually renovated during the last round of renovations. I think the city spent about $500,000 installing exercise equipment, new playground equipment. I think in the restrooms,
The
yeah.
restrooms, yeah.
But-
We also took down some handball courts that were there. Thank you. But we did not do any work to on the tennis courts
But
at that point in time.
This is a maintenance issue, so this is something, I mean, the pictures say a lot. So this is something I'm going to forward to our Public Works Department. They oversee the maintenance.
Excuse me, Robert. So, looking at those photographs, could somebody just hold them up for our audience? Do you mind? Would you say that's a hazardous? Could somebody I know you're not an expert, but could somebody twist their ankle or their knee because it looks like
Pavement cracks, besides causing your ball to bounce in an unexpected direction,
Oh,
you
I
could
see.
trip and fall on those.
okay.
And the handles and the gates are not working that well, but it wouldn't take that much. It'd have to be resurfaced.
Okay.
It wouldn't take that much to do. And the important part is the city promotes the idea that it has a certain number of tennis courts. Well, those are 2 pretend courts. No one that plays tennis is going to go over there and play tennis on those courts, given the
Okay.
condition they're in. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And I also, for the audience, in case you don't know, Robert is also on our planning commission, so he's one of our other commissioners. So it's nice to have you come, so thank you for that.
Madam Chair, comment, please. I think a couple things. Number one, I've been there a couple times over the past 2 weeks, and number of pictures that one of these days I get off my phone. Thank you, Robert, for doing that earlier. I would say agreement on the pretend tennis court concept, but I would not agree that it is something that's a safety hazard. There are simply patches that are missing on the surface and small cracks that are all over the place, but nothing that would be a cause for, liability concern or anything like that.
From my experience in the parks and recreation industry, what surprises me is that this situation has gone quite a long time before it was uncovered. My concern is if you weren't saying these comments tonight, how long would this situation continue without being addressed? That's troublesome to me, that it would have to take a citizen to address us to identify this as a problem, where I'm under the assumption, and maybe incorrectly so, that Public Works has some type of schedule or inspection schedule that they would visit with all the parks, and I find it hard to understand why this particular problem wasn't identified much sooner before it gets worse, because obviously the longer any maintenance issues continue, the worse it gets. So it's perplexing to me, maybe worth looking into from a procedure, from a city policies and review to ensure that these situations don't happen again. For all I know, there may be other maintenance issues in other parks that we're not aware of until someone complains. It seems to me not a good business practice to wait until citizens complain before we address these issues. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that concludes public comments, is that correct?
I have no other requests to speak.
All right, thank you, Carol, and thank you for coming tonight. Under presentations, I'm going to turn it over to staff at this moment. Oh, no, look, presentation, right here. Oh. And then, we're good.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. After a lot of communication and requests from the Commission requiring the presence or requesting the presence of Logan Dooley, I've talked to him several times, and unfortunately, due to his touring schedule, he will not be able to attend tonight, but with great appreciation and acknowledgement, he is very happy to receive an award of recognition and appreciation. So I did want to do a report and talk him up a little bit and have you guys sign that certificate of recognition, and I told him I'd mail it off to him. So he's thrilled to have that. So I just wanted to give you guys a little brief background on Logan Dooley. For those of you that are in the audience that aren't sure or have never heard of Logan Dooley, Logan Dooley's a Lake Forest resident. He began training on the trampoline at the age of 7, and he represented the USA in the 2016 United States Olympic Games. Finishing in 11th place, Logan was determined to be the only U.S. Olympic trampoline athlete, and he was. Finishing in 11th place, he was thrilled, he was recognized, and he was honored. He currently resides in and out of Lake Forest, but he coaches in RSM, and he's also been recognized as one of the best coaches throughout the United States, named Coach of the Year in 2012. So I would still like to recognize Logan Dooley and show our appreciation and for all of his accomplishments for the U.S. Games.
All right, thank you for that. And I just wanted to say I did look him up today because I want to make sure I knew what he was up to. He has a ton of accomplishments.
Yes, he does.
I mean, I think I put it up 4 pages of everything, you know, boom, 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 this champion, da, da, da. So anyway, if you want to know more, you can. And now we're back to presentations, correct? And we're going to hear from our ACT liaison, correct? Or no?
We actually are not going to have the ACT represented tonight. Unfortunately, they had another engagement.
Educational.
Yes, an educational experience. So we will hear from them again in April.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for that. I'm just following our agenda. Okay, so next, consent calendar. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from last meeting? And then if so, I'll need a...
I have a correction. Oh, you're asking? Okay. Under my comments, under the commission comments, I want to reiterate the conducting of educational tours. Approximately 400 children a month over a 12-month period comes through these programs. So I'd like to change the averaging of that 60 children per day for a correction to 400 per month.
I mean, we can go back and check the minutes. We record the way that it was said. It's just recording. It's to document what was actually said at the meeting. So if what you said was 400 per month, we can change it that way. If what you said was 60 children per day, then we're actually required to leave that.
Oh.
It depends on what you actually said. We'd have to look at
Well,
that.
I actually said 60, but I wanted to edit that additionally to 400 a month.
So we're actually required to actually keep it the way that you said it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I understand.
But it's duly noted.
Duly noted. All right, thank you.
Motion to accept the minutes.
Thank you, Jeff. I'll need a second. Okay, excellent. All in to vote yes. You've got your machines here. Off we go. Right. Oh, yep, we're good. All right, thank you. So that, you have to understand, I take minutes for the California commissioners, so this is where I'm like usually frantically writing notes saying first and second. So anyway, so thank you. Motion passed. And now on to item number 4, Senior Advisory Board update. And we do have Beverly here. So
Beverly's
thank you.
here tonight.
Good evening, commissioners and city staff. The Senior Advisory Board met on March 8th. I'd like to give you a little update what we've been up to. Once a quarter, we choose a nonprofit organization as a recipient for a food drive. This quarter, Families Forward was the recipient. The board discussed a way of reaching out beyond the senior clubhouse and to entice baby boomers. We will have the first annual Prime Timers game in the fall. In the beginning, we were going to start out small and then expand some activities to the sports park. We will offer activities for all levels of participation. We are beyond excited for the new senior center, and we thought having a contest to come up with a name for the center would be a fun way to reach out to the community. The board members are encouraged to bring suggestions of programs and activities for the new facility. The board reviewed and discussed the Jim Sachs Award nominations for Senior Volunteer of the Year. This year's Excellence for Senior Luncheon is scheduled on Thursday, April 27, and we are so proud of our volunteers and what we do for our senior programs. We hope all of you will be able to attend the luncheon, and I am so overwhelmed and so proud to have been the senior volunteer for last year. So, thank you.
Thank you, Beverly. Thank you, Beverly. All right. You know what? There's a lot of good stuff everybody's doing on all the seniors overall are doing, but it's good. So we're calling it the Prime Timers Games. I think that'll be wonderful. So it's like our own version of our Olympics.
Senior Olympics.
Senior Olympics.
The beginning of a Senior Olympics type program.
I think that's wonderful. Did anybody have any questions for Beverly? No? Okay. I just don't want to miss out on an opportunity. Okay, skate park programming update.
All right.
My man is on it.
All right, so we're going to welcome Senior Recreation Supervisor Scott Stewart.
Good evening, Chair, Larry Heron, Commissioners. As you know, I'm Scott Stewart, the Recreation Supervisor at the Etnies Skate Park in Lake Forest. I'm here tonight.
Use the clicker. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Just lean into the mic.
Yeah. Here tonight to give you a little update on the skate park and tell you a little bit about our background. As many of you know, we opened in December 13, 2003. And that's when I started working for the city as a recreation leader. It's been there since day one. The park is 62,000 square feet, which makes it's a destination skate park for skaters from all around the world. Average of 60,000 visits a year. There's really terrain for everyone to ride there, right? From beginning to professional. It can really challenge you, and it never gets boring for anybody. It's a great park. Average daily use of 120, around 200 plus users a day. Very, very busy park. People are coming from all around the world to use it. It's really a great facility. Some of the new stuff we're doing recently. We just designed a new pro shop for the skate park. So this is a full service pro shop. So now when you break apart on your skateboard, you can come right to the skate park office and purchase it. You show up to a skate camp, you don't have a skateboard, hey, we got one for you. And we got it at a really reasonable rate too. We've made some good relationships with distributors, and we have really competitive prices and really nice thing for our community, our skateboard community to have, you know. This is something we just set up this week. So yeah, come on down, check it out. Yeah, kind of redesigned the whole thing. It's really, really nice. So the skate park, we did a lot of different marketing, you know. Twitter, something I definitely encourage you to follow us on if we're not already. Great way to get all the news, latest news and updates and what's going on at the skate park. Great way to reach out to the community and let them know if it's raining, we're closed. We have an unbelievable amount of rain this winter. So it's been a great thing just to let the community know, hey, we're closed. Great way to promote our programs and events. And also to kind of promote the people that are using the skate park, the photos of them using the park and showcase them and really create the community togetherness with them. And then also, you know, the traditional methods that we use with print marketing. OC Parenting Magazine is a great one. A lot of great camp guides. Dana Point, SC, and Capistrano Times are also really, really good outlets. So now we're going to go on to some of the fun events that we have coming up in the springtime and the summer. So this is the Etnies Excellent Egg Hunt and Festival of Colors. Try to say that fast, 5 times. It's a great family-friendly event. Come on down. You can hang out, meet the skateboarding bunny, right? We have 10,000 eggs for the kids to find. We have arts, crafts, carnival games, bounce houses, all the stuff for the kids. And I think the highlight of the event is the color blast. And that's really fun. You get parents and the kids that come together. At first the parents are, I don't know if I want to get messy. I'll be on the sidelines, right? The next thing you know, they got their hands at it, and they're throwing, having a color war, and just having a blast. And everybody's really covered in colors and having a really good time. So like I said, April 8th, I encourage you definitely to come on down and check it out. It's a good time. And registration, we're doing a pre-registration this year because it's been such a highly attended event. We want to make sure we do pre-registration and make sure we keep a quality event for everybody that comes. I think we had about 800 people that turned out last year. It was a little too much. Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is talk about the Sheckler Foundation Skate for a Cause. Now Ryan Sheckler, he's a world-known professional skateboarder and a philanthropist, and he really works hard to raise funds and awareness for disabled children as well as disabled action sports athletes. So that's what the Skate for a Cause is all about. All of the professional skaters from around the world come together and they put on a contest and they donate their winnings back to the charity and the cause, as well as all the carnival games we have. All the money goes back to the cause. So we team up with the Sheckler Foundation on that one. It's a really great opportunity. With Victor, at our luncheon, you mentioned that you wanted to see some video of some of our events, some stuff come to life. So I prepared a couple short videos, just so you can get a feel for the event, the experience.
The Sheckler Foundation is about being the change that you want to see in your community, and this is the initiative that supports. And for me, it's about helping children and injured action sports athletes. And that's the whole point of this event, the Skate for a Cause 2016, is to raise awareness and to be the change that you want to see in your community. I'm Ryan Sheckler. We're here at the Edney Skate Park in Lake Forest, California for the 2016 Skate for a Cause. It's going to be a rad day.
Lots of booths. All the skate community really comes together. It's a really fun day.
Went with me and we rolled and up and down like probably 5, 6 different runs. So it was epic.
I'm one of the board.
Yes, as you can see, that's one of the great parts of the event is the adaptive part, where they get the kids in the wheelchairs and everything, and they're out there just having a blast, you know. And some of the stuff that they do is amazing in the chairs. They're dropping it on the ramps, going down the stairs. It's pretty impressive. It's pretty neat experience. Now, I don't need to overwhelm you with videos, but skate camps, right? We offer 25 skate camps a year at the park, and 20 kids a week, about 500 kids throughout the year that go through our camps, and a lot of them do the camps all summer long, and they love it. So we compiled prepare a short video for you to check out too, and kind of just feel that experience. I'll narrate through it so you can tell you what we're doing. We got to give them stretch. Give them doing their push-ups, right? This is the Create a Skate project that we do, where the kids learn how to manufacture a skateboard and actually get to sand an unfinished skateboard deck and then design it on their own, build their own graphic. See all the kids, they really challenge and motivate each other and kind of push each other to go to that next level. It's a little field trip we do to the local skate shop across the street, Focus. They're always excited about that. And this summer, Etnies actually said that we could go ahead and go to their facility and do a tour of all their different departments and see how the design process goes and the manufacturing and everything. So I think it'd be pretty neat to encourage the kids to maybe go that direction with their future. Cater lunch daily for the kids. We have great staff there. It's really really hands-on and helps them motivate them to move forward on some of the intimidating stuff at the skate park. And it's summertime, so every Friday it's a water balloon fight. It's a water war. It's cooking out there. I know you've been out there. What's awesome is a lot of our instructors, when we first opened, I was their camp instructor, and now they're instructing our camps. So it's pretty cool to see the generations, And then the final thing is this year we're going to try a totally new camp. We're going to do 3 weeks of it, just test it out, and it's going to be Action Sports Camp. So it's going to be 3 days of skateboarding, and then 2 days at the local indoor rock climbing gym, aesthetic climbing gym. So we're partnering up with a local business in the community and to provide these kids a great experience. So I have a feeling that it's going to be a really popular camp, and next year we're probably going to want to do more weeks of it. It'll probably go all summer long. So we'll test it out this summer and see how it goes. But with the rock climbing, it's really cool. Is they'll learn about teamwork, and challenging each other, and I'm just really pushing themselves. I think it's going to be a really fun summer. I'm really excited about it, and thank you very much for listening. And I'm open to any questions you have at this time or anything.
All right, anybody? Oh, Jim's good to go.
One question, kind of directed not only to yourself but staff as well. A scheduling thing. I've noticed this year, and I want to say a couple times during the last 3 or 4 years, both your Easter event and the Bunny Blast have been on the same day. I know, the audiences are somewhat distinct.
True.
To be honest with you, but when the kids are involved, typically there's also parents who might be, do we go this one, do we go that one? Is there a reason why we do them on one day that maybe I haven't figured out yet?
We actually have done it on the same day for the reason of it is 2 different populations that normally come, but also we can't serve as many people at the skate park as we can at El Toro Park. If we have them on different days, we end up getting too many people at the skate park. That's why we actually went this year as well to having pre-registration ahead of time. People see a free event and they want to go, and it doesn't matter if it's at a skate park or if it's at a park. They want to go for the egg scenario. And why I would like to say we can service, a lot of people at the skate park, we can, but because of the cement scenario, it's not like it's a park where you can hide the eggs.
Yeah, true.
So
makes perfect
sense.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, wait, I have a question. So are we promoting skateboarding with girls?
Skateboarding with girls right now is huge, yeah.
Good.
Absolutely. And we're going to have a skate contest this summer as well.
Good.
And we're going to have a couple of really big girls divisions. We had some people reach out and talk to us about it. And we're going to definitely take care of the girls too. But there's a big population.
Well, thank you.
And they're really good. They make me not want to skate anymore.
Really? All right. Well, thank you, because that whenever that bill passed, we had to have equal opportunity for girls, and I want to make sure. I know we do.
Absolutely.
And I do remember when I came for the Halloween thing.
Yeah.
How many young girls were there?
Right. Yeah.
So I'm glad to see that we're encouraging that.
Absolutely.
All right, and thank you for your report. It was very informative. So the color blast thing, do you do it in the skate park or in the parking lot?
It's outside the skate park and on the grass hill area.
The hill? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
above next to the trail.
And then, so it's a free event.
It's a free event. It's a $5 donation to participate in the egg hunt, as well as the color blast and the games and crafts.
So if my neighbors are going to come up to me and say, okay, what do we have to do to go? What do they have to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to answer those questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So they need to go ahead and they can register for online, or they can come down to the skate park or City Hall and register. We can take care of them there. And then, just $5 per participant.
Okay.
And they're set.
All right. And then once you sell out of your tickets, then you're done.
Then we're done. Yeah. If we don't sell out pre-registration,
right,
we'll offer day of.
Sure.
And then go ahead and let the line know. Unfortunately, we've sold out.
Okay.
Next year, make sure to pre-register and give a fair warning.
Well, thank you. I need to know.
Absolutely. Good questions.
Because I am your ambassador.
I like it.
Scott, before you end, aren't we receiving an award from OC Parenting Magazine? Recognition?
Oh, another one?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did receive an award from OC Parenting. It's been about 3 months now. Yeah, and it was the award for Reader's Choice, Best Skate Park in Orange County.
Wow.
And I believe it's probably about the third time that we received it. It's been a couple years since we've got it, so it was nice to get back on the radar there.
Okay, so is it an actual
Yeah, they have a physical certificate that we have at the park, and then
Just a certificate?
yeah, and they also publicize it in their magazine. They had a Reader's Choice issue that we were noted in, as well as online on their website.
All right, well, thank you. That's very good to hear.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Oh, you have something or no? We're good? Okay, we're good. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Scott.
Special needs programming.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. What I'd like to do, I had a report that was pretty thorough. I kept it pretty concise, but I'd like to just sort of talk a little bit about the history, kind of why we're talking about special needs, how we got to where we are with the programs that we offer for individuals with special needs. Prior to 2014, the city did what most cities did. We had a few classes for the special needs community.
Right.
And it was a combination of staff-driven classes, maybe a dance now and then, and it was a few contract classes. I'd say a few. In 2014, in the resident survey is conducted every 2 years in the city. One of the questions that's asked of our department is, what services are really most important to you? And the top answer, 72%, said that programs for individuals with special needs was extremely important or very important. That was the top vote getter. Consequently, the following year, for 15-16, the city offered even more classes and experiences for its special needs community. And primarily what we did is we took what we were already doing and we just offered more of it. So we found additional organizations that are located within Lake Forest or around Lake Forest that already serve the special needs community. We either contracted with them to offer something at the park, or we simply we advertise their programs and facilitate registration through the leaflet, or the leisure times rather. In 16-17, the current fiscal year, we, as a staff, we were really committed to our special needs community. We decided to make it an actual budget initiative and a goal to increase programming to this segment of the population by 10%. And our goal in doing that was a little bit of offering even more classes, a couple more experiences, but doing some new things. So some of those included some new workshops, some additional dances, things like that. I know we've been inviting Marines, which really raises the profile of our dances. So we offered a little bit more this year. For the 16-17 resident survey, it's not public yet, so I can't share much of it, other than I did get a sneak peek at the one question. I was curious of that same question when we asked residents, what is the most important service to you? Again, the top vote was services for the special needs community. It was about 70%. So it went from 72% in 2014 to about 70% for the most recent survey. That's pretty significant. Yeah. So this is why we're always talking about it and looking at sort of what we're doing and how we're offering our service delivery models. There are three ways primarily that we serve the special needs community. And one is we have the contract classes that I mentioned. We have a lot of organizations here in town that offer various sports, music classes, arts and crafts classes. There are some really esoteric classes, like we've offered a class I think it's called Social Group for Individuals with Autism, very narrowly focused. Some of these classes are more popular than others.
Right.
Then we also have the staff-driven, the game nights and the dances, which are very popular. We had a game night, I believe last October was the last time we did that on a Saturday night. That was at the sports park. What I really like about game nights and the dances are a couple of things. One is that we get the Marines to come out and join us, which I think raises the profile of the event. The participants really enjoy that. And the second thing is that from sort of a staff perspective, it's sort of the easiest thing you can do. It's something that every city does, but it's a very, very easy way to capture individuals of all abilities and all skill levels and varying age groups. That's what we like about it. And the last way that we serve individuals with special needs is that we make accommodations. And we're actually required to do that by law. The Americans with Disability Act requires all recreation departments to provide accommodations upon request. There are a couple of exceptions when we're not required to do it, but we've generally done that every time we've been asked. And a lot of the requests have to do with individuals that have behavioral issues or emotional issues where their parents come to us and they have sort of a verbal conversation where they explain, my son or daughter sometimes exhibits this behavior. This is why they exhibit this behavior, but they really want to be in your camp or they really want to be in this class. Is this something that you can accommodate? And we do. We started keeping attendance for our special needs classes last year, and it's about 30% residents and 70% non-residents. That's about what I would expect. If you are a caregiver or a parent with a special needs child, you'll drive many miles, right, on a weekend to give your child a fun recreational experience that perhaps they can't get in their own community. And we're okay with this ratio because it helps us serve our individuals with special needs. That brings us to the survey. I know I mentioned in the report here, the question that we had as a staff was sort of, what is our service level? How does it compare to that of other cities around us, and what do we think it should be? And we studied 10 local cities. Normally, we included Irvine. Normally, we don't compare ourselves to Irvine. Irvine has a $35 million budget for their community services department. That's 10 times our budget. The only reason I threw them in is that I suspected that they would really be the only city out there that does something that we don't do. And essentially, that's what we found. Among the 9 cities, they serve the special needs community through a similar combination of the contract classes and then some staff-driven activities. I will say that even Irvine, though, doesn't offer the level of programming that Lake Forest does. We offer more programming than all 10 cities. What Irvine does that we don't do, they do 2 things. One is that they have, gosh, I want to get the name right. It is a...
disability services?
It's a disability. That's one of them. I was going to say they have a commission, and I think it's called a People with Disabilities Commission. And essentially, what they do is they focus on issues of access. So not really programming, but their goal is really to educate home builders and local businesses how to provide better access to their facilities and their services to individuals with disabilities and prosthetic devices. The second thing that they do is they actually have, as I mentioned in the report here, they have a 14-member disability services unit. And essentially what they do, it's 2 full-timers and I think 12 part-timers, and they formalize what we do and what every city does. So when I mentioned before that accommodation process, in Lake Forest it's informal, where a parent might come in and they might have the conversation with us and explain, this is what I'm looking for my child or for myself. And we would work with them to match them to activities that they like. And then we would generally make accommodations to facilitate their participation. What Irvine has done is that they've formalized that process, and they essentially have a formal intake and assessment process. Residents have to qualify; they have to meet certain criteria to qualify to receive that service. And what they get essentially is a 1-hour interview where they come in and they say, for example, my son or daughter has such and such a condition. This is how it manifests itself. These are things that my son really enjoys doing. These are some limitations that he experiences. Can you tell me what activities or events you might have that he might enjoy? And what their staff would do is they would write out a formal written plan, showing all the dates and times and perhaps making commitments to different accommodations that could be made to facilitate participation. That's what Irvine does that we don't do. They have the commission, and then they have the formal disability services unit, that's 14 staff strong. Apart from that, we actually offer more programming than all 10 of these cities, which makes us really proud. We're always tinkering with these programs. It's just like anything else, like our contract class program, where we're always evaluating what classes are full, what's less attended, how do people like the instructor, how do they like the facility. These are all things that we take into consideration when every quarter we change up our classes a little bit. And with that said, we will open it up to any questions that you might have.
All right. I'm going to start with Victor. Did you have anything?
Yes. I know how important this area is because it comes up from time to time at the City Council. And since I've been on the commission going on my 5th year, I've seen unbelievable progress in this arena. I really believe that the progress is a evolutionary process. It's not going to happen overnight. And to be inclusive requires a tremendous amount of infrastructure, although we have limitations on budget, without a doubt. But I believe strongly that what we're doing is impressive given the fact that we don't have a wealth of resources and staffing to do it. And we have to live within our means. So hats off to the staff for accommodating a number of challenges as I view it. it certainly has been, and I'm sure we'll all agree, that this is not an easy process. It's really a developmental process of educating the public and educating staff. I mean, in Irvine, they have a wholly committed staff. It's strictly on special needs. Well, there's no way that we could possibly duplicate that, nor should we. I think by incorporating, as you're doing, the special needs into our staffing programs is right on. Of course, we can want to do a lot more, and I believe we are compared to where we were several years ago. So I think we can keep up the momentum in that arena because, let's face it, it's very labor-intensive, I should say, if that's the proper term. Staff-intensive, maybe that's a better term. And whenever you're implementing these activities, all the way from safety and liability to making sure that the experience is very rewarding, that takes specialized training for staff people to know how to do that. So I think we're going in the right direction from my perspective.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim?
Thank you. Thank you to staff for the report because it was pretty eye-opening. Even though you are involved and you see and you participate, and you don't realize to the extent of what we're doing today, and especially compared to the dark ages when some of us got involved with this animal called the commission. It was non-existent at that time. A couple of that was household emergency or something. A question regarding the 10%. That's a number. It's a goal in terms of increasing budget that can be used for programs by 10, looking to increase attendance by 10%, a combination of both. What does the 10% growth target on?
That's a great question. It's a combination of just offerings, new offerings, and also attendance. So the new offerings, Vicki, you can help.
No, I saw.
Okay.
I was just curious
Okay.
What it did. But would it be fair to say that in order for that to be successful, there definitely needs to be an increase in the monies available?
We're at our limit now.
Right.
Yeah, with what we can do now. The next step for us would really be to get additional hours for recreation specialists to assist in developing new programming.
And just the cost of what it goes to put on some of these activities. There's a cost.
That's correct.
Even without people involved.
Correct. And the neat thing about the contract classes is that we're pretty limited. We really only have one community center, one recreation center. Mm-hmm. These contract classes are offered off-site. That's what's neat about when we can add these classes and make them available and market them, with other organizations. It avails kind of a new service to someone that perhaps they didn't know about.
Right.
But you're correct. We're at our limit now.
From the standpoint of the 70-30 non-resident to resident split, which is very understandable, again, especially due to the fact that other cities don't offer the breadth of what Lake Forest does, that those parents are also limited where they can find suitable activities for their kids that people are giving care to. So they'll come. To me, that looks like, again, a marketing opportunity that, and I don't know how you go and advertise in other places to what we do, but not yet, Vicki, not yet. A thought to throw out, each of the different communities has a community paper. The Saddleback Valley News is called here, and Mission Viejo News, and things like that. And I do know to some extent that those people are hurting for stuff to put in their paper and to look for. I don't know whether they're willing to ask the question if our local guy, who is pretty receptive to the city as opposed to some of the people who preceded him in that job for the last few years, could be a link, or if it would have to be done individually. But that would be possibly one way. It's a public newspaper. It's a human interest type thing to make that available. The other thing that I thought of, we have locally baseball, basketball, and soccer programs for special needs. And I may be having a mind lapse on it, but they also do at least once a year, typically some kind of a tournament where they gather people.
The Challenger.
Challenger does. AYSO VIP, Top Soccer for the CYSA group, and Hot Shots or whatever it's called. And that, with the exception of basketball, I don't know if any of the other groups have ever done that at our facility.
Yes, we work with the Challenger League
Okay.
at Heroes Park for baseball in
Okay.
particular, and we actually publicize their programs in the leisure times as well.
Well, and I know that.
Yeah.
We publicize their
Yes.
program, per se.
Yeah, they use Heroes Park.
But what I would be thinking of also publicizing, and I don't know if you do any of the two soccer groups out there, but I know AYSO does a fairly large one.
Yes, we work with them. Any of the Challenger League that's through Saddleback Little League. Also, AYSO has a similar program. We publicize their program as well, and we
When they put something in. Because I know-
which actually is pretty regularly throughout the year. They've put something in to the programming, and then we've recently started talking with the school district about their basketball program and doing something at the sports park.
What I'm thinking about, I'll do the soccer one because I'm very familiar with that one, because I used to do it for about 10 years. We used to run a one event a year that we probably had more than 700 VIP qualified players, and they ranged from about age 7 to, I want to tell you, we had one that was 62 years old because
Wow.
there's no limitation
Yeah.
age-wise in that program. And we put on a tournament for them every year, and we didn't have a sports park in Lake Forest. We did it in Laguna Niguel,
Oh,
and the pub. Well, there was nowhere else
yeah, at
that time of year
yeah.
to get. We needed a turf field for obvious reasons, and things like that. Didn't want people tripping in the divots and on and on. Not only did it bring a lot of attention to what we were doing for this part of our population, but we had people that came from all over. So, number one, it brings money into the city, for one thing. It's always a good thing. But it also creates publicity, positive publicity, for the city of hosting something like that.
Yeah.
The city, all they did was give you a permit, use
the
permit.
field.
They did not, and there was no need for them to really get involved or support it or, do anything. And I think that could be something if we looked at pulling those events to our sports park. Would be something that would, again, continue to broadcast what we're doing with special needs, the extent of which we're committed to it, and got all these $1 million homes up for sale right now. Maybe somebody would like to move here and buy a few of them, so they wouldn't have to drive that far to take their children or whatever. It all kind of, goes hand in hand. And those are pretty soft dollars because you can get, we did most of it with very little money because of sponsorships of supportive groups to provide stuff for the players and things like that. I'm happy to give you a kind of a TO&E of how that was done. And it doesn't take a lot of staff time at all to do it.
Is that something that AYSO would approach us about hosting, or is this something that we would need to organize that?
Well, my suggestion would be, my suggestion would honestly be you get a good understanding of it, which is not really hard, and then you approach them. Okay? If you're going to wait for a lot of people who are in volunteer positions to come approach, in this case, the city, you may wait a long time. Because when Tuesday follows Monday and Wednesday follows Tuesday, it's a great week, even if the rest of it goes south. 2 out of 7 work. And because we now have the facilities to make them available, and that's one way of drastically increasing numbers. And then what the city could do is advertise everything else we do for special needs to the people who are there, which could be in the form of a small print brochure or whatever, and you're tying a bunch of people at very low cost to what we're already doing, big time. And it's something different that we haven't done.
We haven't done before, right?
The Pittsford Park, the universal playground there. A lot of other cities, I know we're looking at doing it with the renovation of putting in stuff to that extent, but nobody, very few have a park that was designed from the ground up for that purpose. And it's still extremely functional. That should be something I think we should be, advertising, and with all of the social media and outreach that we have and do so well. Again, those are all ways to capitalize, hopefully without spending a lot of money. And, I think the sky's the limit when you just try to think of how to do it. And then I keep saying this until everybody's going to get sick of it, and I'll still keep saying it. We need to go and make a case with the results we're producing that, I'm glad to hear you say Irvine has a budget that is 10 times as big. Well, the population is 7 times as big right now. So, okay, we do the correlation there, but that means our budget should be maybe, 8 times smaller instead of 10 times smaller than Irvine with that. But I think we need to make the case for it, because what this department, community services, does can in any way, shape, or form affect the lives of every resident in this community. And if other people who, share these seats and other seats on the staff level need to understand it. And the only way to understand it is maybe until you're sick of hearing it, it's okay, shut up, we'll give it to them. Or, I know it's not going to go that way, but we've got a good case to pair it out. And I think this is a great area to do it as well. Thank you.
Question, has this been marketed to these neighboring communities, or do they just find out about it? I mean,
What's really nice about this community in general is they network so well amongst each other. When we have things coming up, for instance, in April we have our 2nd annual resource fair for special needs population. They're marketing on their different websites all throughout Orange County so people to come to that. At this point, I think we have 40 booths already. So it's going to be even larger than it was last time. So the networking that they do is not just talking about their own business or own 501(c)(3)s, but about what's coming up in the communities around them for their participants and residents of their city. So they're really good marketing amongst each other, which is really nice. They want to share the information.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have a mailing list as well. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
And excellent report, thank you. And I just want to congratulate staff, because I know you put your heart and soul into these projects. I just want to acknowledge that. I'm going to give a special shout out for Marilyn.
Yes, Marilyn is an amazing
Because
job.
Every time I'm there to help at a special needs event, she is there running it.
She's so perfect for that arena, and basically had the ideas for the programs. Fly away with those programs. Do what you need to do, and she does a great job.
Yeah. So I just want to give her a little shout out for that.
Thank you. We'll pass it on to her.
Oh, thank you. All right. And I'm really impressed. And I know every event we do, especially in regards to special needs, the parents always come up and say, wow, this is so great. One mom told me she pulled up with her daughter. It was one of the dances. And all of a sudden her daughter realized where she was, and she was like, couldn't wait to get out of the car and come on in and dance. So her mom was really impressed. Anyway, so I just wanted to pass that along. All right. So thank you. I think we got everybody covered. All right. What's next? Recreation report. Correct? Time for Laura.
I'll go ahead and start the recreation report for tonight. We'll start it with Snowfest. So as in last month's report, Monique reviewed Snowfest a little bit, but just to give you some more numbers, Snowfest, we had over 3,000 people again. Another successful event held on January 28th at Pittsford Park. We had, again, the largest amount of tons. I don't remember I think it was like 105 tons of snow. So that was great. That was the most we've ever had with the 2 snow play areas that was added. We sold over 1,468 wristbands for sledders and 375 wristbands for the rides, face painting, things like that, which was a little bit different. So we kind of separated that out. So if you didn't necessarily want to sled and you just wanted to participate in the rides and the face painting and have your the little area for the snow hill, you can do that as well for the little guys. So that was neat, and the parents seemed to enjoy that. We started a new campaign in the spring. It's Dogs on Leashes. If you haven't seen, that was the first the campaign that we have on the leaflet for this season in the spring. City staff started that campaign along with our public information office. So Colleen has been great on getting that message out for our public. We seem to have a lot of violators of Dogs on Leashes lately, especially at the sports park. Since we have staff there, we seem to hear it a lot. So we wanted to get attention out to those people and kind of do a positive feedback and kind of give them positive feedback rather than negative feedback. So we're trying to enhance and encourage people to have their dogs on leashes. We're going to start with giveaways. We started a little bit last Saturday at the Pet Expo and really encouraging that and passing out literature and basically letting them know, hey, we're really encouraging that. We've had some complaints, from neighbors and things like that, not just, within at the sports park, but other parks as well. So it seems to be a continuing issue that we want to tackle. So it's been pretty well received throughout the community. We've had a lot of great feedback from people calling in and actually letting us know they're really pleased to see that we're doing something about it, and hopefully it'll continue and not just be something that's through the spring, but it'll continue on through for many, many more seasons to come. So that's where we are, and I'll turn it over to Vicki.
So my update for the month of February, I just want to give a little shout out to another wonderful senior activity, the 50 Sock Hop, which if you've never come to one of our Sock Hops, audience as well, this room transforms into a diner, and they do a great job. The staff does an amazing job. 93 senior participants were there for this one, which is on February 24th. They always have a great DJ that gets the crowd going and involved. We always have our Marines here to dance with them as well, which they love. And then they also have this time they had, which we haven't done this in the past for this dance, but we had a dance group come in and do some 50s era dances for the seniors that were there that night. Also, highlights of the event are always the gift cards to Target and In-N-Out Burger and Panera Bread and Dunkin' Donuts that the seniors are able to win when they take part in many of the games that we play that night. So that is my highlight for the month of February. We are all busy getting ready for summer already. I know that sounds like it's far off, but we're getting ready for summer. Just a little heads up, this will be our largest summer leisure times to date that will be coming out. We have increased 4 more pages, which means 4 more pages of fun for everybody. And that completes my part of the report. So if you have any questions for Laura and I, we are definitely here to answer. Thank you.
Considering our air conditioner's on full blast.
Okay, can you hear this?
I apologize.
Yes.
We're having a hard time hearing you as well.
Oh.
So that's why it's
okay. All right.
Constant.
Yeah.
Shh.
All right. Do we need to take a break and run around and get warm again, or what?
Just on each other. Yeah. That's why you saw me walking around, pulling off the things, trying to get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. Great report. Does anybody have anything to say? I think.
Just a quick question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
I won't use the mic.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, please use the mic
You'll
tonight.
hear me.
Yeah.
When you categorize the attendance at different events, and that's a thing that I probably should ask this question in a different forum 30 years ago. What criteria do you use to come up with attendance?
For special events or
in our case, special events. I know wristbands sold, that's an easy one to do, but I think the number you said, we had over 3,000 people.
Right. For that one's a little bit easier because we have the wristbands. Dino Days, same thing. We have tickets.
Okay.
The Pet Expo is a little bit more difficult. It's truly a guesstimate, but I mean, over the years we've seen an event or two in our time, so we can kind of gauge. Plus, the parking issue was 600 parking spots with how many people looking across the land. A lot has to do with what we're selling. Like I also spoke with the food vendors to see how many meals they sold, how much money they made, how many flyers were given away, how many giveaways we have left. So a lot of it's like a process of elimination, and then I do my best math work.
And we count the pets and the humans to inflate.
I knew you'd do that. I mean, that I wasn't doubting that one for a moment. But no, it's just, I mean, whether it's 3,000 or 35,000 somewhere, and it's interesting because one, snippet on the...
I tend to err on the side of fewer than more, because then it's hard to make up that number the next year.
Right.
I like to,
we're a little bit more
be more conservative on the side of attendance numbers.
With Pet Expo, they estimated 1,000 people. I mean, 1,000 people were there at any given time. There were 1,000 people there. Of course, all the pets and the people exhibiting. So, okay, just a question. Thank you.
All right. Did you have anything, Lisa? No, we're good? Okay. Director's report. Go.
Okay, just a couple of quick items. We were going to take a commission photo.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
We were going to take a commission photo, but we have one commissioner absent. So the next meeting that we're all present, we're going to, hopefully that's the next meeting.
Thanks for letting me.
We'll take a commission photo, and we'll put that up on the website.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next meeting, we're going to hopefully take a photo.
Correct.
All right, so now we know.
Correct. Just a reminder, there are some, I think, let's see, Form 700 needs to be completed. Commissioners Rosenberg and Herron. I believe it was. Do you need it? It should have been sent. It should have been emailed to you. Did you receive it?
Okay. Do we do it online?
Yes, you can do it online. It's easy and quick.
With starting my new job, my email doesn't get looked at.
If you have questions, Jennifer Conley.
Yes.
Okay, she's the person.
And what's our deadline now? Okay.
I don't remember. I
March
did
31st?
mine within a
Okay.
day of getting it. Is it 31st? Okay.
Okay.
Okay. There is a fine if that's late, and
Okay.
we don't levy it, but it's something you want to avoid.
It's very easy to fill out online.
Oh, I've done
It's
it
really
in the past.
quick.
I think everything there is already there on my form from
Yeah.
Astra.
They just
Hit go.
exactly. It's very simple.
Okay.
The only other brief update I have is we awarded a contract for construction of Village Fun Park last Tuesday. Fence went up yesterday. The banners went up today. And they're currently mobilizing and essentially coming up with their detailed construction schedule. And we expect to start the animal relocation process, I'm guessing within 2 weeks? About 2 weeks.
Sooner, yeah.
The process itself it's going to take a while because they're not able to drain the lake all in 1 or 2 days. It's probably going to it's going to be drained over a few weeks, and that's a condition that's set upon us by El Toro Water District. So we can only drain it so fast through the sanitary sewer to make sure that it doesn't overwhelm their system.
Draining it different, too, right?
But that's really the only update at this time, is that we're just excited that it's moving forward.
Okay. Well, thank you. All right. We are on to commissioner comments. Victor?
Yes, thank you. I'm practicing my senior passage into my senior years because I'm very actively participating in many of the activities, which is fantastic. The sock hop. What can you say?
It's so fun, huh? You do such a great. Steph does such a great job, and they have so much fun at the event itself.
Well, they have
love
more
being
fun.
there.
I mean, your staff is unbelievable. I mean, it's contagious with the enthusiasm of your staff. It just filtered right through the whole room. I mean, that's what it's all about in the business of Parks and Rec. I mean, to have a passion like that makes a huge difference, and the seniors pick it up. Same thing with today's St. Patrick's Day lunch. I mean, I don't believe I've seen. It was overbooked. I mean, I don't think I've seen as many people as I saw today.
152.
Was it that many? I mean, it was almost like I don't think we had enough food to feed 152. If we went short rations, make sure everyone got something. But I don't believe you planned to have that many, did you? Or
We don't plan to have more than about 135.
I thought it was low hundreds.
And so a little bit over, but we make it work on those special days like today and Thanksgiving, because we know so many seniors want to attend. So we try our best to make sure everybody can be included.
Great group.
Yeah.
And then the Pet Expo. I particularly didn't have any expectations when I went there, but it was well organized. I liked the idea of how it was laid out on the grass, and where it was close together. Did anyone else at the Pet Expo?
Of course.
You-
I'm surprised that you didn't see me.
Well, I was there early in the morning, around 11. Yeah, I didn't run into you. But to my way of thinking, the layout really added a lot to the success because it was easy access. It was all together. You didn't have to walk far. And good representation from a large number of organizations. A lot of adoption, of course. I didn't realize how specialized adoptions of certain dogs are. I mean, they had breeds that they specialize in for adopting animals. So, is this something we're going to be doing each year, or is it something that is a random situation?
So we've done this 2 years in a row. This year was about as big as we can make it. So we don't know what's going to happen next year. So we do have funding. The City Council gave us $5,000 to hold our own pet event. We combined this year with the county for the South County Pet Expo. They may decide to go to a larger venue with more parking next year. It's sort of up in the air at this point. But if they do that, then we would put on our own event, which would obviously be a little bit smaller in scale, but nonetheless really exciting.
Oh, that's glad to hear that. These are things that I think we should be reoccurring, hopefully, each year, budgeted for. So that's really exciting. I'd like to make a comment or a question. I haven't heard any updates or progress reports as far as the garden concept for that open land on Lake Forest Drive there, Whispering Hills. Do you have anything to comment on?
I have an update. So we had, one of the things we did for Commissioner Porter's benefit, we went through a process with Whispering Hills, the same park planning process that we go through for any park. We hired a consultant. They engaged the community in a series of workshops to develop a consensus around a use for the park. This process that worked really well for Portola Park, or the sports park, didn't really generate a consensus. And we ended out with two uses that were really opposite. We had some that wanted to build soccer arenas, which is a very active type of use with traffic and noise and that sort of thing. And then there were others that wanted to make it a garden park. And there are different ideas as to what they mean by a garden park. What they essentially mean, it's not just a community garden, because nobody really likes those. Garden park is more sort of an educational facility where there are gardens. There are demonstration gardens. So, for example, one garden might be a demonstration of how, if you live in an urban environment and you perhaps live in an apartment or condominium and you don't have a yard but you want a garden, it might be a demonstration to show you how to do that vertically. Or they might have a spaghetti garden with all the ingredients that are grown for spaghetti. And there's an educational component where they bring kids in, and they basically teach kids where vegetables and fresh fruit comes from and how to garden. That's sort of the idea behind a garden park. Where I'm going with this is that where we left this last year is that the City Council opted not to design anything since there was no consensus. And the plan was essentially to revisit it along with our renovation of the 10 parks. Because we're already getting a consultant to host these workshops in the community around the 10 parks, we decided let's just have them do one extra workshop specifically for Whispering Hills. It was held, I think, 3 weeks ago at the sports park. There were probably 45 people in attendance. The vast majority of them were from the neighbors in the immediate park. They live right up in Whispering Hills. The majority wanted a passive use, and the majority of those wanted some kind of a garden park. So the next step, to answer your question, we'll be presenting this to the City Council ultimately to sort of bring them up to date and ask them, how they want to proceed, because there are different options there. They can direct us to proceed, hire a new consultant, start all over. They can tell us to hire a new consultant, start where we left off with the last meeting. They might be interested in taking our existing consultant that's working with us on the park renovations, since they conducted that workshop and facilitated it, asking if they'd be interested in developing a conceptual plan. Those are some of the options that the City Council would have. And, of course, they could decide to do nothing. It really just depends. So that's the update on Whispering Hills. It's probably going to be a budget discussion. If not a budget discussion, then a discussion along with the park renovation discussion. So the renovation is scheduled, consultants scheduled to give their presentation at the next commission meeting on the 20th of April. And following that, they'd likely give a presentation to the City Council in May. And that presentation is really just on, this is what we heard from the community, this is what they want in their parks, this is the approximate cost estimate.
Thank you.
Thank you. To follow on that conversation with this consultant, just to get a better understanding, I know they had the workshops, and I know that there were comments made at the last time about them not being well attended. Has this consultant reached out beyond those workshops to other residents within the community?
We have. So we've had an online survey. It was completed by about 513 people. And that's where people were able to give their feedback and their opinions on the 10 parks, and also there was a way they could give input on Whispering Hills.
Okay.
So that was sort of the primary means of doing that.
Because I would hope that they would, 45 isn't a good representation, and I would think that, and again, we had my comments from last time too, is because they're being held on the weekends, if you have children in sports like I do, there's no way I'd be able to attend any of those, and I hadn't been able to attend any of those meetings because I'm on the soccer field with my daughter. But if it's online, if there's a survey online, I'll take the 5-10 minutes to complete that survey. But I never saw a survey
Exactly.
anywhere.
It was a button that you could click on the Neighborhood Improvement Park Plan update page. There was a button for the survey, but it was pulled off. Pardon me? It also was in mailers that we sent out. So we sent out targeted letters around all of the parks.
Okay.
Thousands of letters. Yeah.
I have sent them out.
Did you get response back from the letters?
The letters actually had my direct contact information on it, along with the website to go to. So, I mean, if I had to guess, my underestimate guesstimate would be close to 7,000 letters that we sent out to the neighboring communities of all 11 sites, including, so we had 146 attend the workshops, 513 online, and I received phone calls to include their input into the information for the consultant. But I mean, when you look at the thousands to what we actually got, people just don't take the time to do it unless they're passionate about what they're,
Well, that's
their
kind
part.
of my concern. If you look at the total number of residents within the Lake Forest community, you look at the number that actually attended the workshops, I'd be curious to see the breakdown. How many actually, I live near kind of close to Borrego. I never saw anything come in the mail. So that's why I'm curious about that. And then, but if I see things online, again, I mentioned, putting it out there on Facebook, making sure that, because my demographic will definitely look on social media, and if they see something like that, they'll take the time, to do a survey or that kind of thing, just to up the numbers from the community, because that might prevent the lashback from the community when this is put out there.
And no, it's definitely a valid point. I think more people took the online survey and were satisfied with that and decided not to show up for the workshop.
For sure.
And I also think we mentioned at the last meeting, there's going to be a second round of workshops. And what we would do, we're going to follow the pattern of the last time we renovated parks, which is essentially this consultant tells us the feedback that we got, the cost estimate to do anything. Then we do another RFP where we hire another consultant. to basically design all these things. Once everything's designed, then we're going to do 10 separate meetings in each of those parks and really go back to people and say, we held these workshops, this is what you told us you wanted. We're checking in to make sure that this is still what you want before we proceed.
If I know there's an online survey, if you give me the link to where that online survey, I mean, there's the Foothill Ranch community pages, and I'm sure there's I know there's one for Petrola Hills and that kind of thing. We should be posting those links. I mean, I'd be happy to do it if we had those links to those different communities where the parks are near, just to get up your response rate.
It is, I will check to see if we did that. I'm not sure. We have one person that does all of the social media
Okay.
kind of coordinating.
But I didn't see it, and I'm online constantly.
It ended already. It ended in.
But I mean, before I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't see
Yeah.
it.
It's on the city's, on the city's social media page.
Okay.
What's on the
I'm on. I have it on my likes, but I didn't. Yeah.
It might not be there now.
Okay.
Because it
but
was,
I
it was
mean,
actually taken down.
How long ago was that?
It was on since December through March.
Yeah. See, and I don't recall seeing it. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Okay.
So we need to get it on the community pages too.
Okay.
Or give it to I'm happy to work with the social media person too to up our response rate.
Thank you.
Jim?
A question related to comments on Whispering Hills and what's happened with that. 7,000 letters mailed out throughout the city with any kind of, we mailed so many here, so many there. It's not like 500 yards to the park or...
It's the project areas.
It's the GIS program.
Microphone.
I can hear.
It's the GIS program. I don't know. The radius is a certain amount of radius. You know, I basically give him the area that I want, and he formulates
I was just curious because I remember making the comment pre-workshops that the rule of thumb is you mail it within 500 yards of anybody living there, which is like you have a large lot, 6 houses or whatever, who get it. I think from the last time I looked at direct mail, meaning the old postman brings it, if you got 1.5%, you probably would get a medal that you did very well. So it's probably one of the lower forms of response, but at least it gets the word out. From Commissioner Porter, your comments on the social media and the website, it was, anytime you access the city website for 3 months on the home page, it was clearly there with either the, and I don't know the term where you have the 5 or 6 slides that rotate. It would be one of those, or in the, I call it What's News, but that thing on the home page, there was always something there. And so,
That's if I know to go to the site.
well, I mean, I would assume that, you might know that, but social media, and I know there was outreach done through that as well. I think an interesting point, though, that you brought up was maybe working with some of the local organizations. I'll say associations is probably the best one, because that affects homes directly. Most of them are fairly, if not very willing, to post city-type stuff, and I'm sure our PIO, Kalina, who I think does an excellent job, could contact those people and create almost like a subsidiary. We'll ship you the fodder, the material. Could you please post it? And then it's got to be up to the individuals, because if you do something else with 77,000 people, it's a mailing, and that's going to be more money worth than what you're going to get in return. But I think that was a good comment, to get it in another way through the people, through their HOAs and where they live, or community associations and bulletin boards. But having been here when we did the last one as well, of park renovations, we did pretty much all the same things, and it's always hard to get people to pull away from, everybody has busy lives and things like that, and it becomes, making a decision of what you want to do, and I can identify and sympathize with the sports parent, having been one myself and having run a program with 25,000 of them in there, that, yeah, my Saturdays were, and Sundays, and everything else were occupied, but I still was able to serve time on this body and hopefully do it well. And you make decisions, carpool or Dad, or I'm going to go this one, Dad, again, a lot of ways to survive, and it's not easy, unfortunately. So, but I think very little I think you could do much else to at least put the word out, maybe besides getting these associations to be partners with us in doing, because this kind of in their neighborhoods as well. They should have, maybe a little bit of feeling of ownership. Moving on to a different subject, the Pet Expo, I think was great. I think, Laura, you get another cluster on your bronze star that you should be wearing. I know when you get 3 or 4 parties involved, it seemed like here's a piece of advertising, here's an event, and it's great, and but you got 3 managing general partners, each one who thinks that they're one higher general than the other 2, of making it work. Those things are not easy, and I think you did a fabulous job, again, in making sure that the body count, at least, has not been found yet from what went through it. The only one thing I will say with the participation, which was huge, a lot bigger than the year before, and maybe if the county wants to move a different direction, as Scott mentioned, to a bigger facility or whatever, there are still a lot of local resources. I had hoped or thought, my only expectation was that there would be more Lake Forest booths there. But I understand with the outreach the county has that it's a different concept and different whatever, but I don't think if it became our own thing, so to do, that it would go from, we had 100, 102 vendors, booths, whatever there, to having 3 or 4 people on this huge field. But it was a great event, and you had a lot of people and a lot of interest. And one of the ladies today at the senior lunch was telling me, I didn't realize she was one of the rescue groups, and how she enjoyed it, just the half organization being there. Her only kind of complaint was that they were adopting dogs out as well, and the people wanted to adopt her dog, and I didn't really understand it. And I said, well, that's great, and I hope he found a good home, wise guy here. And her comment said, no, it was my dog.
That's my 4th child. You may have taken home with you.
Yes. Oh, I understand. It was your personal dog. Okay. But the only other comment I'll make is walking the hard-trodden ground of the Pet Expo Commons Field. That field needs a rest. And it needs tender love and care, aerating, reseeding, big fence around it for a while before the concerts come, and more rain, and that. It's amazing that, it's held up as well as it has. So that's, the message of the week for Public Works, so to speak. That really deserves some looking at. More on the Public Works thing, for kind of going to all fields here. I have been, and I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, both to Robert, who I know fairly well, and to Scott, down to Mountain View a couple of times, and fairly recently. And I've got, like I said, a couple dozen pictures on my phone, and it's just to find the time during this month to take them off and send them to people. I appreciate his comments about the Urban Land Institute and all of these industry think groups. It's not something that, I'm trying to say it nicely, that we're one step away from it becoming graffiti-laden and, something that you have to have SWAT teams patrolling and et cetera, et cetera. We're nowhere close to that. Like a lot of other public facilities, it needs a little TLC. And those are questions of manpower and budget and whatever. I think whether it's the city or the county, nothing's perfect. I'm not ready to throw anybody from any department in this city under the bus of that should have been inspected and it should have been done and why they're not doing it. I think the important thing is to create the awareness that it's been brought up, that we're members of the public as well. We can bring up things. Robert can as a member of the community. Pickleball can bring it, right? It's not like, it's a shame that it had to come from that we weren't out there, and I don't think that really even helps the situation. Everybody's kind of on guard saying, this department's going to think on me or do whatever. I don't consider that professional. A company that I've long admired, IBM, used to have a kind of a policy on doing that with other people and competitors, and the policy was very simple: termination. If that's the way you want to operate, you don't work for this company anymore, and things like that. We all need to work together. The courts have, pictures are right. They're better pictures than what came off my cell phone. They have some little cracks all over the place, but nothing that creates a safety hazard. I'm sure, thank him for coming, brought to the attention now or a week later it would get looked at. So, again, let's not make mountains out of, totally out of molehills in that respect. Couple of other issues. The luncheon today was, again, everything that seemingly we in the city do for our seniors is, I'm going to say it's fun. It's just the people have a lot of fun, and they're going to move into heaven when a couple of years from now make this look like what was this? It was a room that somehow we inhabited. But that's kind of characteristic of all of our programs, that we do good things for the people here. A couple of related things that I think, and maybe this should go as a starting point to the Senior Advisory Board, but it became evident again to me today in a couple of instances, and two other instances at the 15th anniversary lunch. We need to do something about the fact that table number 7 belongs to these 10 people. And no, you may laugh, that's a tough thing to do.
We talk about this, staff talks about this all the time.
And
It's very hard to, unfortunately, it's not just at our center.
No,
That's what the discussion goes on, not just with staff internally, but when we go to other networking functions,
Right.
Professional functions, that's a topic of conversation all the time.
Yeah, and I don't know if, the answer is to find consultants are always popular on social interaction or something like that. Right now, it's more critical than it will be when we move, because we'll have double the space. What happens now is the fact that people get kind of turned off, if I can use that phrase, and they don't come back or don't want to come back, which doesn't really bode all that well for the future, because they'll think, we have this, they have a magnificent facility, but it'll be the same people and the same thing, and I'm not going to come. But I think we'll make it up on other things. But if there is a way, I mean, maybe it's creative, maybe it's a game. You play musical chairs, or I've thought about that, they like to play games. Everybody get up and you move on this side table 3 seats down, meaning some people automatically have to move to another table, their bags and something else, or you put a tag under the seat. You've got to move to where the next red tag is, and something like that. But because I think in the end, nobody's going to go bonkers if they didn't sit next to or have that person 3 seats down. Well, maybe I see your eyes. Maybe they would go bonkers or things like that. But Well, there's something called basic training, and there's a purpose for that, too. They take them all, they break them down, and then they put them back together. I can help you there. I did that for 3.5 years. So, again, just a thought. Something else to share from, I'm surprised Beverly didn't mention it, from the last, where is it? I brought it here, Senior Advisory Board meeting. Here it is. I'll share this. There's been this ongoing kind of discussion of naming and naming rights, and this is the same thing, yeah. This was actually put together by the newest member, and Vic, you probably saw this, of the Senior Advisory Board, and it's just a concept. It's not, this is what it should be named or that, but there was some thought put into it by this gentleman, and I just wanted to share it because I really think we need to give some thought to, in the near future, agendizing this from a standpoint before 2019. I'm being facetious. I hope you know that. Of looking at this, because I think there is a mounting consensus that calling it a senior center, per se, there needs to be something else, especially with our emphasis and then ability to focus on the 50 to end of time as opposed to 65, 70, and things like that. But some kind of, I thought, a real intelligent thought process went into this, and I think he's a real winner keeper from what he does. Another interesting thing that was brought up that would eventually probably come back to us with the criteria for the Jim Sachs Award for the Volunteer of the Year, of including couples in that as opposed to it being just an individual. Because it was mentioned there are some that work as a couple. Again, just an idea. It wouldn't be the end of the world if we included it. It doesn't mean that's going to be your winner, but maybe we'll get some more people involved to keep it a little bit more open, that a husband and wife could enjoy what's happening here and at the same time both be involved in doing it. And that's what I thought would just kind of broaden it, and we can look at maybe having a discussion on that at a future meeting, like all the other things. What else? Trying to read my small print here. My eyesight's good. My hearing's even better. One more thing I can't remember. Okay, not being able to remember it. My memory is failing. In closing, Scott, thank you for your presentation. Real nice job you're doing over there. And again, another crown jewel that, even though it's very well obviously publicized in the skating community, again, they've got to find a way to elevate it, that more people, it's like all the things we do that will make the city kind of a destination point, again, help sell those $1 million homes. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I do have a lot to say, but I think I'm going to give my CPRS update next month, considering it's cold and it's, but I'll give you some quick highlights of thank yous and things. Parade meeting I thought went okay. And then afterwards I went to the basketball 30 and over group. Wow, that was good. I think I saw one gal playing basketball. We need to get that going a little bit. Anyway, and I also went to futsal. Is that how they say it? Wow, that was interesting. And I'm so glad we're doing that. I really was impressed with that. So I just wanted to pass that along. Went to Bunko. Everybody had a great time. We had some new people. Pet Expo. I have a whole thing of things, compliments for you. I'll do that next month, okay? And then Oh, also, in regards to the Jim Sachs Award Luncheon, Carol, I can go because I got permission from my boss to take an extra long lunch. So if you wouldn't mind signing me up for that, I would appreciate that. So that's my quick, well, no, I guess I have a few more things here. Not too much. Okay, so the California Commissioners, okay, they are hosting a one-day trip, a mini thing, to Hearst Castle. It's a behind-the-scenes tour. It's June 10th. You need to, if you're interested, it's $85 a person. That does not include food. That does not include lodging. It is just the Hearst Castle thing. Okay, end of story. I've already committed to that, but I just wanted to pass that along in case anyone else was interested. It's going to be a fun trip. Maybe Vicki. Okay, well, you can get on the website and you'll have to, you know. Okay, yeah, it's I'm really looking forward to it. And also at CPRS we also talked about some legislative stuff, so I'll bring that up next month. And that kind of concludes, because you know, we've been busy. So before I forget, so Scott, I did go attend the CPRS Inclusion Seminar. So this is your very own booklet. Okay. Thank you. Yes. All right. And I think we're going to come to an end here. Anybody have anything else? I guess we'll be done. All right. So I just say adjourn. The meeting's adjourned now. Okay.